years ago, about 35 years ago, I got asked to sing a duet with Gladys Knight. And it was really a neat project. And because we did that, I wound up being the first white guy ever on the cover of Jet magazine. So my dad's in his office one day. It's right here. My dad's office was right here across the street from where we're playing tonight. And this black gentleman that he worked with, that was a lawyer in the firm, or this or that. And he came in there, and my dad was sitting at his desk, and he came over with that Jet magazine, and he dropped it on the desk, and he said, "Now your boy's really done something." But with all that success in those days came something that I was not accustomed to, and that was being recognized. You know, I would occasionally be somewhere and somebody would recognize me, and that was always a little bit awkward. Sometimes humorous, sometimes weird, whatever. But my favorite times are when it was funny, you know. And I was coming through a mall one time, walking down the middle of nowhere, somewhere out on the road, and these two women were coming towards me, you know, and I walked past them, and they're smoking and yapping 90 miles an hour. And one of them turned and looked at me, and she punched her girlfriend and said, "Hey, that looked like Vince Gill." That's exactly what that woman did. She just started laughing. She goes, "Ha, he wishes." And like my pop, I've always been a little calorically challenged over the years. He had a big plate in front of him. My dad was a big man, 350 probably, and 6'3". He was a big man. He scared the hell out of me. And he was up here eating somewhere, and had a big plate of food up in front of him. And my father's name was Stan. This guy walked up to him and says, "Well, damn, Stan," he said, "what you trying to get your weight up to?" My dad said, "You don't think I got this big eating a bunch of damn salad, do you?" Anyway, me too. I've been a little bit challenged by the calories over the years. And I was down in Amarillo, Texas with an old friend having a Mexican dinner in a really funky joint, had bars on the window. We shouldn't have been in there on a dare, but the food was good. It was worth the risk. You know, so we had this great meal going, and there was this old cowboy sitting across from us, you know, a few tables away, and he was staring a hole right through me. He wasn't subtle. He wasn't anything but just boring a hole right through me the whole meal. It was uncomfortable. And I finally finished my meal, and he comes over in his overalls and his straw cap, his toothpick. He said, "Hey, buddy." I said, "Yes, sir." He said, "I've been looking at you the whole time you've been in here." I said, "Oh, yeah, I know." He said, "I swear to God," he said, "Vince Gill was to put on about 70 pounds. He looked just like him." I'm on the floor. I'm laughing so hard, thinking, "You couldn't have said 25, you know?" I got up, I stood up, looked at him and said, "Well, buddy," I said, "I did, and I am." He never made the connection, and it was funny. Just went out smiling. It was so good. I've been telling this story lately for good reason. It's a great story, but I was in Eastern Washington many years ago. I was on tour with the great Patty Loveless. We were having a good time. And we had a night off, right? So we got this night off, and we decided to take over the Holiday Inn Lounge, right? Her band, her crew, my band, my crew, 40 or 50 of us all in there, holding court. And it just so happened to be karaoke night, right? So the crew's up there doing heavy metal covers and acting foolish, and it's party's going. We're having a great time, and I'm sitting there at the bar just enjoying the hell out of it, you know. And there's a beautiful girl sitting next to me, black girl, and she says to me, I catch her kind of looking my way, and she says, "Do I know you?" I said, "No, I don't think so." She goes, "No, I know you from somewhere, but I can't place it." I said, "I have no idea. I'm not from around here. I don't it could be. And she said, well, what's your name? I said, Willis. She said, no, I don't think I know anybody named Willis. But I know that I know you. I said, I have no idea, I'm sorry. She goes, what do you do, Willis? I said, I sell auto parts here in the tri-state area. She said, no, I don't know nobody named Willis that sells car parts. I said, but I know you from somewhere. I said, I have no clue. And the night's going on, everybody's getting up there and having a ball. And finally she nudges me and says, hey, Willis. I said, yes, ma'am. She said, let's go up there and do a duet. And I said, no. She said, you couldn't get me to sing in front of people for $1 million. And she goes, come on, baby, I'll get you through it. Just come on. I said, no, I couldn't do it. No way. No, I'm sorry. So the night goes on. It's getting closer to closing time. And I looked at her towards the end of the night and I said, all right, baby, let's go do that duet. And she said, attaboy, Willis, attaboy. So we go up there. And you got to understand, everybody in the place knows what's happening. Because it's all our crew and band guys and stuff. And so we go up there and she said, what you want to sing, baby? And I said, I'm getting down. This is freaking me out. I can't do this. There's no way in hell I can do this. She said, just stick with me, baby. I got you. And so we picked some Motown duet and started the song. And I started singing the first verse way out of tune, all the wrong words, and it's awful. And she is crushed. She's crushed by how bad I am. And she sings, and she's pretty good. And the next verse came, and I sang it even worse than the first verse. And everybody's laughing at us, and she's pretty despondent, you know, she's crushed. And then I had one more verse, and grabbed the mic, and I went total Stevie Wonder on this girl. You know? I started singing all these runs, all these falsetto licks, and way up high and all this stuff. She just went. She was stunned, and we finished. Everybody went crazy. We were walking off the stage. She put her arm around me. She says, you know what, Willis? I said, what's that, baby? I said, once you weren't quite so nervous, you got a little bit better out there. I'm laughing. Not yet, I got to the punchline, baby. So I'm laughing. I said, man, I'm just kidding you. I've been messing with you all night long. She goes, what do you mean? I said, well, I'm actually a very well-known country music singer in Nashville. She goes, that's where I knew you from. She said, you were that Alan Jackson boy, ain't you?